is one of the nicest people I know, and he's always got a pun to say. He's corny, just like agriculture education. He is your pause for laughter. He is your two-time valedictorian and graduate with a master's. Here is Brandon Baumgarten.
Yeah, Brandon!
Awesome. Well, if you can hear me clap once, if you can hear me clap twice, don't ever use that in a senior citizen center because I promise you it will never work. Some of you got that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, look at somebody next to you and say, you're significant.
You're significant.
Look at the other person and say, you're significant.
You're significant.
Doesn't that feel good when someone tells you you're significant?
You're significant.
I remember at Christmas time going to Santa Claus. I remember sitting on his lap and he asked me, Brandon, what would you like for Christmas? Wow, he wants to know what's going on with me. He wants to know what's significant in my life. I mean, he wants to know my every thought right now. And I can tell you right now, when someone tells me that I'm significant, that feels pretty good, don't it? But you know what? We all represent an organization. We all represent something pretty cool. We represent organizations that has a lot of great members in it. And I don't care if you represent 500,000 members. I don't care if you represent 24,000, 5 members, or 2 members. I'm here to tell you that you represent a significant group of people. And you know, you can look at our situation today here in America, you'll notice that the divorce rates are out of control. We have schools today that have guns. We have schools today that are going through situations that, you know, it makes you cry almost. Because there are students out there that need hope and they are waiting for someone to tell them that they are significant. You know, growing up in a little school called Oilton High School, I remember there was this little boy, his name was Bradley Bevel. And Bradley was a boy who came from an uncertain circumstance. He was in a situation where the doctors diagnosed him with a situation called Down syndrome. And Down syndrome is a situation where you have an extra chromosome in your body, which creates some genetic makeup and default that just helps you. It doesn't help you at all in society. Society looks at him and says, oh my goodness, he's an outcast. He's no good. He's never going to be successful in life. He's inadequate. He's insignificant. And I remember Bradley one time, he was in class one day and I noticed there were some kids picking on him. People would pick on him because he couldn't really relate to people. He had a speech impediment. He had all these situations going on, and people saw him as insignificant once again. And then I remember one time he came to the point in his life where he could enroll in FFA, agricultural education. And I saw him for the first time take a market weather goat and lead it into the showroom. He was so excited, so happy that when people saw him as a loser, he came out a winner. He went into that showroom, I remember taking that goat, not knowing what in the world was going on, but having the time of his life, because for once in his life, he felt like he was worth something. He was wearing that jacket. He came in leading that goat. And unfortunately, he was sifted. What I mean by sifted is the goat wasn't good enough to make the final cut. But as he left, I remember seeing him, and he says to Brandon, he says, Brandon, and you know, he has a speech impediment. He said, I won. I gave him a big old hug. And you know, to us, he didn't really win. But for the first time in his life, he felt significant. He felt like he was worth something. And I'm here to tell you that if there's anything that we do as state officers, it's that we fight for students like Bradley. We fight for students who are looking for that hope that they so often need. That when people say, no, we cast you out, you're no good, you're a loser, we can say, you know what? You're a winner. Yes, I'm here to tell you that there are still some things worth fighting for. And I have one quick story I'll finish up right here. I remember there's a guy in the Bible named Peter. How many years heard of a guy named Peter? Yeah. One of the craziest guys in the Bible because he was all over the map. And one thing about Peter is you'll notice that his faith was at one point here, one point there. He was just the average Joe. He was a fisherman. And if he was a fisherman back in those times, you were just basically like the garbage man of Israel. You didn't do much. And so one time he's with the disciples in a boat. They're out on a lake similar like this. And I remember in the Bible it said that there was one night they were in this boat. It was really stormy. And they all of a sudden see this really white figure start walking on the water. Like, oh my goodness, is that a ghost? What is that thing? And all of a sudden they notice that, wait a minute, that guy actually looks like Jesus. Before they know it, the ghost starts talking to the ghost. And they say, oh my goodness, look at that, that's Jesus. Oh my goodness, look at that, that's so cool. And Jesus, they begin to notice that, hey, that's me, it's Jesus. He begins to yell at him. And then all of a sudden, Peter, the guy who we talked about who was insignificant, comes up and says, hey, Jesus said, that's you, let me walk on the water to you. And so I was like, oh man, he got some confidence there, don't he? He can walk on water, we're going to see how this works. So what does he do? He gets up, recognizes that there's Jesus, and he begins to step out of the boat and begins walking on the water. I'm sure the disciples are like, man, was he wearing holy shocks or something? He's over there. Psh, psh, psh. But just imagine, y'all see the water right here? I want you to imagine Peter walking on the water. We kind of freaky with it. Just walking on the water. I can imagine what Peter's thinking in his mind. He's like, oh, this is cool. There's Jesus. Hey, Jesus, I'm coming to you. Oh, my goodness, look, I'm walking on the water. Oh, whoa, okay. Whoa, this isn't cool. Hey, look, a piranha, a shark, oh my goodness. And he begins to sink, and as he's beginning to sink, he gets Jesus just before he loses sight. And Jesus picks him up and says, ye of little faith, where is your hope? But the point of the story, I tell you that because there's something significant going on in Peter's life. First of all, he recognized that there was a goal. He saw Jesus, he said, you know what, that's my God. That's the guy I serve. I'm going to go out to him. Second of all, he took the initiative. He said, you know what, I don't care what y'all are going to do, but I'm going to get out of this boat. And then what did he do next? He took a step of faith and he kept going. He stayed focused on the prize until the very end. And I'm here to tell you today that Peter did something significant. And I encourage you, just as Bradley saw something significant, just as Peter did something significant, I encourage each and every one of you to get out of your comfort zone, to step out of your boat, to get out of the show ring, and to do something that is truly significant. Thank you all so much. God